And for more on this now, we are now joined in studio by Usindiso fire survivor Mike Ngubile and Marshalltown Fire Justice Campaign spokesperson Rehad Desai, and they join us in studio tonight. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. I mean, Mike, I'm going to start off with you. I mean, a day like this, what does it mean to you a year later? I mean, you were there in that building when it went up in flames last year.
Mina lelanga namhlanje ngijabulele ngade wekwenzeka ngakhona ukuthi siyofika lapha salahlekela khona kwaphelela impilo ya ama-families yabantu nama-families wethu. So to my side ngijabulile ngokuthi siwalayithela amakhandlela umphefumulo yawo lapho basibagcine khona balale ngokuthula.
And emawukhumbula kahle that day last year, what actually happened?
No, nasibesilele ewusuku kahle into yenzekileyo ugesi ube ungekho because sibe ngesikhathi ukuthi ugesi uhamba kuma 8 hours. So ugesi wayewahamba from there mina ngahamba ngayothenga ukudla sazodla lapha endlini ne umfazi wami uJoyce Banda ne uMemory Banda. Masiceda ukudla salala ke masiceda ukulala mina ngizovuswa ewusuku. It was around I think past 12 mangizovuswa umfazi wami uthe ngizwa umsindo ngaphandle navele ngigijime ngivula iminyango mangivula iminyango ngibheke epasejini ngibone nje kugcwele intutu nomlilo. Hayi ngivala iminyango ngibuyele ngaphakathi ngitshela umfazi wami ukuthi hayi ibili liyatsha. Yebo, umfazi wami wavela wavuka wathatha umntwana phumela ngaphandle kanti kube kugcina kubonana ukukhulumisana sibesikhathi sokugcina ke lezo. Ngizamile kumtshela ukuthi no mawaye kupark khona kodwa ke ngendlela kube ngakhona kusho ukuthi azange wakhona kuya kwepark khona. Kahle yena wabe nengcondo zokuthi kube ne-exit gate wacabanga ukuthi maybe livuliwe and kulelo side kube kunganamlilo kahle. So wayakhona mina ngabuyela endlini ngokuthi no njengangena uhambile waye wangaphathanga like isikhwama. So mina ngathi no mangithathe ibirthday yomntwana namaphasi uyabo. Yeah, so ngabuyela endlini ngavala iminyango mangivala iminyango ngafuna isikhwama because kuyumnyama ugesi ungekho ngazama kusithola ke mangizama kusithola isikhwama nami ngagcoka ngathi hayi sengiyaphuma ke. Mangiphuma eduzane neminyango kahle lapho kube netap khona kube ne-DB box kanti already ngesosikhathi I'm sure it was past 1. Yeah, so ngilezo sikhathi lezo ugesi ubuya ke ngesosikhathi. So lapha ngifika ku eduzane nebox kanti already intambo zibesesithile zogesi kanti ngezo sikhathi kubuye ugesi and already in that time umlilo use 4th floor phezulu.
All right. And Rehad, I mean, much of today we've been hearing, you know, many victims are recounting and reliving those moments that took place today, last year, this time. I mean, what has been going through the minds of many that you have spent, you know, some time with, especially this evening at the night vigil?
Yeah, it's a very tough time emotionally. A lot of tears were spent, and yeah, it's taking people back to that trauma, that time, and it was not only the trauma and the nightmares that they've had around since then. You know, a couple of people telling me every time they smell smoke, they start panicking, they go into panic attacks. You know, a lot of people have lost children, people dislocated, you know, they've lost all their documents, and the level of care, of duty that the municipality has to all those who live in the city has really been shockingly absent. There's, you know, the houses, the shacks that have been divided.
All right, I'm just going to ask that we just pause for a moment. Let's take a quick ad break. We'll have more from Mike as well as Rehad Desai on the events from the 31st of August last year. Welcome back. Let's continue now with our conversation. A year later from the Usindiso fire, which saw a number of people losing their lives and many also being displaced. And Rehad, I mean, we were speaking to you and you were just, accounting to us in terms of what the city of Johannesburg basically has been saying when it comes to, assisting, those who lost their loved ones and those who lost their belongings in this fire last year.
Well, we know what happened at the Denver property. 300 shacks were built. I think 20 or so went to the victims from the building. But that came at the cost of 20 million rand, or 80,000 rand a shack, which is basically 20 times what it costs to have something erected like that in the township. It's utterly shocking. It's utterly shocking they've been silent. The report it's not rocket science. It clearly points to very concrete evidence which holds the city culpable. And they've got to live up to their responsibility and to make sure that there's at least some level of comfort provided to those victims while they wait to see what their future holds. Unfortunately, the report didn't recommend compensation, but it left that matter for the city to decide upon. So let's see what happens. But they've got a long way to go in order to ensure that justice is being met, and that means criminal prosecutions.
And let's go back to the story of Mike. And Mike, I understand that as much as, you lost your wife in this tragic fire last year, at the same time, it has been difficult to locate your child. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, phuma laphaya kanti wona bacabanga ukuthi baye ku exit gate, so kulapho bashonela khona kule gate. Kodwa ke wona bashona ngesmoke, abazange bachazanga babe ne bands. So mina ngathathwa ngaya esibhedlela eBarakwani, but nabakhoma some days because ngikhumbula nje ngeso sikhathi ngifike ku ambulance only, ngazama ukuthi okay it's fine, ngicela nibeleke ifoni ku ambulance ngifonela ukhazini wami ukuthi okay ngilimele ibili lichile, so you can follow up this phone number so you can trace where you're going to leave me. So ngalesikhathi ngaba ebhedlela mina bengazi lutho because bekukhoma, so ifamily yazama ku tracer ama sonke like families. So mhla ka 4 September kulapho both families, ifamily yami ifamily ka nkosikazi wami baya eDikloof Mortuary. Mabaya ku Dikloof Mortuary batshela ukuthi no bazama ukuchecka azange bathola next, so batshela ukuthi no alright it's fine, nize ugogo wakhe lo mfazi bazokhona ukuthatha ama DNA test kwenzela bazomecha. So ngomhla ka 5 September bazala abantu laba ukuthi bazowathatha ama DNA, kodwa ke mabaceda kubathatha ama DNA test kusho ukuthi ugogo wakhe intombazana in 3 days back ube kuye. So yena wacela ku reception ukuthi no ngicela kubona isithombe kuma system wenu ukuthi maybe ngakhona kumazi lo mntana because ngiyamazi vele ngibe nayo uchinile ekhandeni ngamaphondo. So vele kusho ukuthi bamvulela isithombe zakhona, mabazama ukuchecka isithombe bam-identify ukuthi nangu umntwana, and mabam-identify umntwana ngumuntu wesifazane wabiza both family. So both family yacho vele ukuthi hayi vele lona ngumntwana wethu
umntwana,
bathi okay it's fine, kodwa ke asinasho masilinde i-DNA test. So balinda DNA test, mabalinda i-DNA test, mina ngibe ngekho ngezo sikhathi, but ngiyezwa the way batsho ngakhona bathi mabalinda i-DNA test yaphuma yomntwana and it was correspond ukuthi umntwana so babafonela ukuthi no umntwana nguye siyenze make sure nazi i-DNA yakhona and this is the body number. So bathi no okay but angeke sinikezwe umntwana sisalinde i-DNA yomama. So mabalinda kanjalo azange kwathatha isikhathi kuphuma i-DNA yomama wakhe lo nguJoyce Banda.
Yeah.
So babafonela ukuthi okay i-DNA kaJoyce Banda iphumile so zani nizocollecta ama-bodies. Into azange yabaphatha kahle mabafika emotuary eDickgrove kwatholakala ukuthi babanikeza ibody eli-1 laJoyce Banda. So kwaba ne-misunderstanding ukuthi kanjani thina nisikhombile umntana sambona
Some identifier, yes.
Some identifier from the photos, the plus DNA
Yeah.
leyo nithathile nithi i-DNA mayikhomba umama izokhomba lo mntwana wakhona because izoya straight.
All right. And Rehad, maybe I want you to come in here. I mean, you know, he has been dealing, he lost his wife, he lost his child. He's trying to get the remains of his daughter as well. And it has clearly been very difficult for him. What are the authorities saying when he's trying, you know, to get his closure and to bury his loved ones?
Well, we've heard a lot from them over the last few months about their inability to identify 17 victims. People have been murdered in that building by government neglect. But in some cases, like Mike's, you know, people have come forward. The incompetence, the insensitivity is astounding. They've come forward, they've done DNA checks and stuff, and how could they give a child's body to someone else's without properly checking and being sure that that could be the case? So it's all over. You know, the reason this building and other buildings have burnt just recently, we lost 4 people.
Yeah.
Is because a whole number of departments aren't wanting to do their job. They're incentivized not to do their job in order to keep these buildings in the state they are. It's time to clean out the rot. It's time for government to take the poor seriously. What they're doing, in this case of Mike's with the deaths and so on, and their inability to provide any temporary accommodation is completely contemptuous for the poor. It lacks any feeling, any empathy, which you think would be forthcoming. And let's hope the new mayor will turn the leaf on this, turn the page on this, and actually begin to do what they need to do in order to try and make these victims' lives as bearable as possible.
And Mike, I mean, your story is really heartbreaking, you know, trying to track down your child. Are you hopeful that, you know, they will ultimately hand over the remains of your daughter?
Yeah, the first time we say, bakhuluma ukuthi it was like a mistake. But I said, okay, it's fine if it's mistake. Masithathe lo ukhona sambe siyomncwaba because it's already lo yosoba mncwabile ngithi. But okay, it's fine because mina ngibengekho in that time bengisasesibhedlela. So if family yami naka Joyce Banda yathatha responsibility to take the body and to go and bury it in home in Malawi. So after it came, because it was promised, those people said no, if we came back then singanithatha ke ukuthi siyonibonisa lapho kunqwabe khona. In that time masicela kuyenzeka. Alright, ma kubuya ekhaya sazama kuhlangana njengake umndeni between ifamily yami nami ngibe khona ngeso sikhathi ukuthi sabuyela emotuary nefamily kaJoyce Banda ukuthi at least siyokhona ukubheka ukuthi okay umntana wethu nangu uncwabelana kwenzela ukuthi sizokhona ukumthandazela. But masiya ngale sekwacala ukuchange story. But no, umntwana loya ube another family. It was not yours.
And how does that make you feel?
Very bad. So okay, it's fine. Batsho kanje nasazama ukuthi no angithi ekuqaleni sikhulumile but okay thina sathi okay it's fine sicela nizame ukukhuluma naye lo muntu lo yakhe ukuthi waze asilwe kodwa nje sidinga nje ukuthi umntwana siyobona lapho uNgubile khona. So wona bathi no okay it's fine sisazobuyela kini ukuthi senza njani. Ngaleso sikhathi sise iDekloof emochari because masifika eDekloof emochari masifika ku reception basi hand over ukuthi no this is the person you can talk to him about Usindiso building is the one managing those borders. So sakhuluma naye lo muntu nguye osiphendula kanjalo. Okay, from there because mina say ngive ngiphumile and pick up ile just nje ku shorter ama bandage ukuthi bangikhiphe. So ngazama ke ku follow up.
Yeah.
Ngazama ke ku follow up kuhamba mangiya kuma check up ngiye ku Dekloof.
All right.
But there's no straight answer.
All right. All right. And maybe let's come back to you. I mean, Rehad, how do they rebuild their lives now, especially with Mike? He hasn't even received the closure he needs. You know, he's been sent from pillar to post when it comes to the remains of his daughter. What is the way forward for someone like Mike, who is still pained with the loss he encountered last year during this fire?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because the fire scattered everybody around because of the lack of care and duty to those victims immediately after the fire. So to bring everybody together and to have a united community voice. There are 30 or 40 of the victims who are regularly meeting, and I think well, certainly there's going to be a class action suit against the government. Legal action is going to be taken, so compensation can be gained, but that's not enough. People are only going to find closure when they see the people who are responsible for this fire in court, when they see a real turnaround of the city's buildings. Many people in these so-called occupied buildings are just tenants who've been left stranded by absentee landlords who've run away, and they're managing these buildings very well, but they're still classified as occupied buildings. But a number of those buildings need serious work. We need to keep those buildings for those people who are in desperate need of presently living there. And I think it's the way the city views people. Are they after investors first and foremost, or do they want to really care about the needs of ordinary working people who need real decent accommodation which is cheap enough for them to be able to survive in their daily work? These are the choices. A big policy shift, real action from the City Council, and criminal proceedings against those who have been fingered in this report.
All right, Rehad Desai and Mike Ngubile, thank you so much for your time and for coming into studio and sharing, you know, some of the memories from that very fateful day where a number of people lost their lives, and, you know, like you say, Rehad, and some continue to be displaced till this day.